Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to today's episode of Speaking the Truth About Money with Martin Coward and Joy the Wise Woman. Martin Coward is my human name, and Joy the Wise Woman is my spiritual name. I am both. We all have a spiritual nature and a human nature. As Eckhart Tolle says, human beings, hundreds and millions of humans, billions really, only one being, and we're all connected to that being through what I would call a heart, the heart of the universe, and that's our life force within us. And so I'm so excited today to introduce to you and bring to our show Carmen Delia Ortiz, and I hope I pronounced it correctly. But she is the founder of Teen Evolution Ventures LLC, where she is leading a global movement of evolutionary leaders in technology, business, education, in all matters to evolve humanity into a unified, loving universe. And she believes we're creating an ethical spiritual business so we can achieve social justice, unity, and global peace. And I think that's a pretty good mission, a pretty good cause myself. And so I'm going to just, Carmen, just to get us to know, tell us a little bit about who you are and tell us a little bit of your story of how you founded Teen Evolutions Ventures and what makes you so passionate about this.
Yeah. First of all, I want to thank you, Martin, and everybody that's here, that's sharing with us this opportunity to basically share our story, share my story. But it's not just mine. I've got a team, so it's our story.
Right.
And around Teen Evolution Ventures. And here it is. It's very simple, really. I'm going to keep it really simple. A few years ago, about 7 years ago, I was in the process of creating a business, what we would call a social business, a private business with social impact to serve humanity, to serve particularly, I was looking at Latina entrepreneurs and Latina professionals, including the LGBTQ community. And I was there. I was really, really committed to that. When I found my soulmate, her name is Blanca Cecilia Carrero, and she is the co-conspirator along with our creator, the universe, in Teen Evolution Ventures, along with two other women. But Blanca Cecilia is my soulmate. In fact, we are now married.
Congratulations!
Very happily married. And she took, I presented to her my idea. We were working, I hired her as a freelancer. She was in Venezuela and I was in the United States, in Florida. I found her like a diamond, just like you are finding diamonds with ABBA, for example. And she was my diamond, really, Martin. And I hired her. And then it's a long story, but we ended up falling in love and getting married, etc. So I give her this business plan that I had, and she started channeling. Every morning she would get up with new visions, and just, geometric images, sacred geometry. And every day she would come up, what about this? And what about that? I had this dream. I have this vision. I have this. And I'm like, I have an MBA from Columbia, right? So I've got this business head. So I would put my cap, my Columbia Business School cap on when she would be bringing me all these spiritual, visions that she was getting regarding my business. And I would go, you know what? I think that would work. I think that would work. So anyway, we packed our bags. She moved from Venezuela. I moved from Florida, and we landed in Cuenca, Ecuador. It's going to be 6 years ago, to develop a business that was based on all this that she was channeling. And what we developed was a new business model, and it's called the ethical spiritual business model. Okay, we can talk about that maybe in this show, maybe in another, but let me go on with the story because it
I
just
love
gets.
it. And you know what I really liked hearing so far was that you're this businesswoman with a lot of credentials, a lot of educational credentials, PhD and all kinds of really great things that you worked hard for. And then you meet this woman who you fall in love with, and she's like she's you're both spiritual, but she sees the world through a different lens, more of a spiritual, direct lens. And so she's taking your kind of hardcore idea, and she's like, and then the universe saying, oh, but this is how we can create this. She's giving you the vision.
Yeah. And the thing is, since she was 15, she was looking for somebody. She knew she was looking for somebody. When she found me, she knew I was the person that she had been looking for, and that God brought her to me to guide me in this process. She knew
Right.
that. She knew that. So, anyway, we created this business model, the ethical spiritual business model, that now we're bringing to the world, and we put together a coaching program, and you know about that, a small pilot. We put together a pilot to teach the model, and in that pilot there were two students that are now that are founders of Teen Evolution Ventures. Two students, and one of them had just discovered that her daughter, who was 18 at the time, had come out of the closet and was a lesbian, and she was going, as a parent, going through, what parents go through when the child comes out. And she expressed it to me, and she comes to me, this woman who's from the Dominican Republic, her name is Jackie. She had known about me when I lived in New York, and I was a financial advisor, financial planner, and I would go on TV and I would be on radio shows, and she would hear me. And we're talking in the late 80s and 90s.
Uh-huh.
And she would hear me.
Yep.
So she wanted to be close to me, and that's why she joined the coaching program. And when she joined the coaching program, she said, Carmen, I want to do something around youth. I want to do something around youth. And we got together, meaning we got very close during the coaching program. And came out to me that she has her daughter, and that a lot of the gay kids that were friends with her daughter were coming to her house for advice because they were being rejected by their own parents. These are all Latino parents. And they were being rejected by their own parents. And so she became like the godmother of all of them, supporting them. She's a practitioner of the Course in Miracles, very spiritual person.
Oh my God. Let me just break that down a little bit, because this is a great story. So you met this mother of a Latina, gay Latina daughter, a queer Latina daughter.
Yeah.
And the mother recognized that there was not a really good, safe place for her daughter and her daughter's friends, who were also coming out in their current environment because of Latina queer women. Let's just put it that way. Okay. So that was kind of the catalyst, because here was a place that needed to be a safe place for women, young women like yourself, right?
Yep. Yeah. And the other point that I mentioned is that she saw me as an authority figure, because
Right.
she knew me from New York decades ago when I was an authority figure in business and in financial planning. So she had that trust in me. So when
Mm-hmm.
she says, okay, she comes out of the coaching program and she says, I want to create an ethical spiritual business. I've got some money and I want to do it, but I'm only going to do it if you and Blanquita, my wife, join me as partners, because I don't feel like I can do it by myself. And that's how Teen Evolution was born. I said to her, and by the way, here's another thing. Before Jackie comes to the coaching program, like for 3 months, I was speaking to Blanquita. I said, we got to do something with youth. We got to do something with Generation C. We've got to create an ethical, spiritual business serving LGBTQ youth. We have to. And then I'm in that declaration when Jackie shows up. She joins the program. She says, I didn't mention anything about what was in my heart. He says, this is what I want to do. I've got the money. I can't do it by myself. But if you do it with us, let's go and let's do it. And Teen Evolution Ventures became the first ethical spiritual business that comes out of our model, the model that we created, Blanquita and I. And so we are super excited. And then what happened was, why color? Here's what happens with color. LGBTQ youth of color. Why color? Well, because we've got reports, we've got statistics, we've got data that is pointing to the fact that LGBTQ youth of color are being discriminated against even by LGBTQ youth, white youth. Why? Because the racism, the separation, the discrimination that exists in the general society spills over to LGBTQ youth of color. So now you've got, LGBTQ youth. So now you've got these youth associations at the high school level, at the college level, that are popping all over the United States to create safe spaces for LGBTQ youth, and they are not creating safe spaces for LGBTQ Latinos and Black Americans and Asian Americans and Indian Americans. So we're saying, wait a minute, there's absolutely, again, it's the separation. That's why in my mission statement, I talk about oneness, Martin, because it's in the separation. We continue to maintain ourselves separated from each other. Okay. And the only solution in my mind to bring us to unity, to social justice, and to peace is to recognize that we are one, that we all come from the same source, that we are spiritual beings living a human experience. That is the solution. That's
the solution. And that is the way the world is moving. That is the God is pulling us in that, if you want to call God, the universe, the unconditional love force that's creating the world, we'll call it that. We're what we're doing, because we've had our own experiences. I'm going to interpret a little bit here. You and I are, and we're among millions, by the way, who a lot of woke up during the pandemic to realize, wait a minute, something's not quite right here in this world. The wrong people are in places of power. There's no equality. It's like the people who have the most money are the ones that win. And this is just not right. This just doesn't feel right to us. So you got the great big resignation from people saying, I don't want to work in companies like this. I don't want to work in toxic environments. I want to work in a loving and nurturing environment, one that welcomes white, Black, Latino, gay, straight, disabled. It doesn't matter. We're all beautiful God's creators, and we all are connected to the same heart.
Exactly.
And so what we're doing, you're doing, I'm doing it right now with, in the world I'm working in with these LGBTQ people in Africa, working with Abba, who you mentioned, he's not my romantic interest, by the way. He's just my business partner. I would say though, but I want to say something about Abba real quick. He's not my soulmate, but he is my agape brother. And we love each other at a level that transcends romantic love. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. If you know what I mean.
Yes, of course.
There's no drama in it. It's just, we just love each other unconditionally. As a matter of fact, I would say when I met Abba, he opened up my heart to a new awareness of love and abundance in the world. And so, and we have connected, he woke me up to a bigger presence that I wasn't. And I've been doing this stuff for a long time that I wasn't quite aware of. And it says, like, to me, that's the thing, is you're bringing the world into the awareness that we're all one heartbeat. We're all one, and that transcends life, the human life.
Yes.
So if we can create, but what we want to do is we want to create heaven on earth. We don't want to have a place to go and we become good little boys and girls. We want to get into that heart space, quantum field, heaven on earth now, because it's available now. And I'm going to use some of my language. Say, that's what you're doing, and that's why you're on my show, because I completely agree with you. And I am so glad to be a collaborator with you on this movement.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Martin. And I want to take one step back to talk about youth. Why do we need Teen Evolution Ventures? Why do we need a program like that? This is a business like this with this vision and this mission. Because what is the vision of Teen Evolution Ventures? The vision is that all teenagers, all youth fulfill their human potential. That all youth fulfill their human potential. And this is extremely important because we believe that it is this generation, the children of today, the youth of today, that are the architects of the new planet, of the new civilization. They have come here and they are coming here as messengers of God to move us forward in the world's evolution. But they are finding themselves totally disconnected from when all of the adults around them, their parents, their family members, their teachers, are like in a planet, like in the 17th century. So it's a total, yeah, it's like a short
I think that's true for the whole world, for the world right now. So it sounds like to me, why I like the idea that it's teenagers is because they're at that pivotal time in their life of making choices. Do I do what everybody else does to fit in, make money, and be successful, and do what everybody else does? Or do I listen to my heart and I say there's more to life than what is out there? There's an entire internal universe inside me is where life is living.
Yes.
And if you can catch people at that place and let them know they are valued, they don't have to go out and try to be anybody other than themselves. But if they can be that proud, gay, Latina, just where they were made and created, that's where their superpowers are. And if you can get them to plug into that superpower, there's a lot less unlearning they're going to have to do when they get to be our age. I mean, that's been my case. I mean, I'm 67 years old and I had to kind of unlearn all the stuff in my 60s that I was taught were important.
There you go.
And basically, when I got to the top of the mountain and I was this most successful wealth manager like you were at a Wall Street firm, it's like, wow, this doesn't have a lot of meaning in it, really. Yeah. So I had to go back and unlearn everything. So what really matters is that I help bring people into heart space. And that's what I do. Help people like you're doing. Help people. And I do it mostly for my own generation, but I do it for anybody that wants it, is because we want everybody to move into heart, everybody to know they are loved and appreciated exactly as they are. I just changed my banner on all of my social media pages to say, financial freedom is loving and accepting everything as it is, everything exactly as it is, knowing all is well and divinely orchestrated. And if you can teach that to teenagers,
it's amazing. It's amazing. So look at what you're saying. Those are psychospiritual tools. What you just said, what we're teaching, what we need to teach teenagers. Now, are these teenagers learning these psychospiritual tools at home? No, with very few exceptions. Are they learning these psychospiritual tools at school? No, with very few exceptions. So therefore, we need to create projects that bring these psychospiritual tools to the architects of the new civilization, which are our kids, our children, and our youth. Somebody has to do it. Teen Evolution Ventures was created as a space where this is exactly what's going to happen. So
I love it. I love that. And as I love the way you're articulating this, because as you know, as we met, is that I'm leading this same movement. I'm doing the same thing in Africa you're doing here. And we call it Project Diamond Mine, because I have found because I see these beautiful queer grown-ups and children, because some of them got kids, living in a place where they're not free to make a living. They live in a very homophobic culture that limits their ability to really prosper and live their life of purpose. So we're doing the same thing. We're saying, okay, you guys are valuable the way you are. And we call it Project Diamond Mine, because what happens to a diamond when you put it under pressure? It gets brilliant. It gets brighter and stronger. So we're moving. We want to we want queer Africans living in a place where they can shine and show the world what they got. Because I'm going to tell you something, they got a lot. They're going to lead they could lead the world. Africa could lead the world economy. They could lead the world economy if they realized their biggest asset were their people, gay, straight, whatever. But right now they've not realized what you and I have realized, is that it isn't the resources, it isn't the money, it's their people. And their people are beautiful, brilliant, heart-centered, loving people. And if they could tap into that resource, they could become the leader in commerce in the world. And we're doing that. And we're starting right now with the most despised, the most disliked, marginal group in all of Africa, because the Africa culture sees gay people as worthless, really. Some even a curse. So we're taking that group of people the way you're taking young Latina women and saying, wait a minute, you're valuable. You're a diamond just the way you are. And we're going to help cultivate you. We're going to help hone that diamond and master that diamond so you can grow and have your top potential, and you can lead the world in a new way of living.
Absolutely, absolutely. And so to tie it in with that, we've got this 9 books workbook series called Supernova. Supernova, 100 challenges to show your inner power. That is the title of our workbook series. There's 9 books. And that this is the Teen Evolution is the owner of the copyrights of this workbook series. And what you are saying, because when these youth of color, let's call them marginalized youth, let's call them kids that are of a different color, different race, brown, black. Let's call them kids that have disabilities, that are in a wheelchair, or that are blind, can't see, can't hear, that they are separated, they are marginalized, they don't have the same access. And that's what's happening with your project over in Africa. When these human souls connect to their inner power,
right,
show their inner power to the world, every single one of them becomes an inspiration, because they take away the excuses, the excuses that all of us humans have to not succeed, to not live in abundance, to not prosper. I can't study because of this. I can, achieve this because of that. But when you have a black kid, queer kid, saying, hey, this is my power. I know that I am one with God, and I am here to serve the world and to prosper and to live abundantly. Then what is the excuse of everybody else? That all the excuses just happen.
I love it. I love that. Absolutely. And that is golden right there. That is the whole thing. They will, when people are, that's what inspiration means, by the way. It means you are inspiring others because you're enlightened. There's a spirit within you that can make the impossible possible. Matter of fact, that's the only thing that creates. The human mind, the ego thinking mind, is just a memory bank. We gotta move out of the mind and into the human heart. That's the beacon that connects us to the heart of the universe.
Yes.
And you're teaching these teenagers who, before they got too lost up the other road, wait a minute, before you take that road to try to look like you can fit in with all those white people out there, white straight people, or whatever you want to try to fit in with, no. I want you to tap into that part of you that makes you feel different, that makes you feel queer. That's where your power is. And you got a program to help cultivate and hone and master that, it sounds like to me.
Yeah. And Teen Evolution Ventures is going to be combining, it's going to be a sister company with with a nonprofit. Teen Evolution is for profit. It's a private company. It'll be a sister company of a nonprofit. And that nonprofit is going to also provide psychospiritual tools for parents and for teachers. Because we can't, if our focus is the psychospiritual development of youth so that they can live in their total power and full potential, we cannot do it without serving their parents and their teachers.
Absolutely. That is where most of the work is done, because they've got to be they've got to be unlearned, basically.
There you go. There you go.
Because they don't know what they don't know yet what they don't know. Let's put it that way. And
so in the nonprofit,
yeah.
Martin, in the nonprofit, we're creating communities, free communities in
Good.
the nonprofit for the young kids, for the youth, for their parents, and for their teachers. We're creating resources, software for their teachers so that they can bring them into the schools. We're creating training programs for the parents. We are all over the place on this mission. Okay. And another thing I want to say, Martin, is before we run out of time, is that I want to talk for a minute about why Teen Evolution Ventures is an ethical spiritual business, which is implementing our own model, the model that we created. It took us 3 years to create the model. Why? Why isn't it not a social business? Why is it an ethical spiritual business? I'll tell you why. This is really, really important. A social business, social entrepreneurship, was started like 40 years ago. And it got really big out of Stanford Business School. They started creating, the MBA started at Stanford, offering a specialization in social entrepreneurship for entrepreneurs that wanted to create private businesses with social impact. And it's been around for 40 years. And the idea was to solve the world's problems. But the world's problems keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Why? Because social entrepreneurship, which has its role and is super, super important, but what a social business does is that it deals with the consequences of the crisis. The consequences. In other words, if there's hunger in this part of the world, then a social business it's got to go over there and it's got to feed the people because they're dying of hunger. If there's domestic violence, they got to create a social enterprise that helps the women or the men that are suffering from domestic violence. But a social business deal, it's like there's a fire, right? There's a social crisis. There's a fire, and you take a hose and you turn off the fire. But when you turn around, the fire turns on again. Why? Because you did not get to the root of the social crisis.
Oh, girl, you just nailed it on the head right there. That is the biggest problem in the world today. It is all mind driven.
There you go.
It's all mind. All solutions are mind driven.
There you go.
And
so
they might relieve the problem, but they will not actually solve it.
There you go.
You got to go down to the source. You got to go down to where did that programming get in? How do we learn those behaviors? Because we think the world is run by what we see, touch, and hear. Actually, everything is done in that still space of the divine.
There you go.
What you're doing is you're saying, okay, it can't just be ethical. It's got to be spiritual. It's got to be driven by unconditional love.
There you go.
Not a fear of getting hurt if you don't do it, but it's got to be driven from that place of unconditional love that we're both talking about. I love that. That is phenomenal.
There you go. And that is the basis of an ethical spiritual business. And that's why we're saying it's very simple, our message. We say all of the problems of the world have a spiritual root to it. Therefore, all the solutions to the problems of the world need to have a spiritual base to it. It's very, very simple.
Yeah.
So that's what we're bringing.
We cannot solve, it's an internal conflict, both individually and collective. Is an internal conflict. I mean, I had this kind of same thing when it comes back to money in those days as a financial planner, like you, and we would create all these incredible financial plans and all these models that these people would have more money than they could spend in a million lifetimes. But if they had a conflict inside themselves that said, I'm not good enough, I'm not smart enough, whatever that I'm not good, whatever that shadow's belief was barking at them, I don't care what you showed them, they weren't going to believe it, because what people really wanted, and where the root of the matter is we have got to free people from their emotional attachments to everything material. Because there's no power in anything in the material world. All of the power is in the heart, where we create, where life lives, and where we create everything. And I just love what you're doing, because you're spot on with, not just putting out not just putting out the fire or relieving the symptoms, but really getting down to the fact that you can't solve an internal conflict with an external solution. You got to go in and you got to solve the internal conflict first. And once you solve the internal conflict, the external conflict will solve itself, because it's all an illusion anyway.
There you go. That's it. So our model, the ethical spiritual business model, we're starting to share it with the world, Barton. We're going to be doing content, free content, YouTube videos, podcasting, everything to bring this model to light, put a magnifying glass on it, and let the world know that we are here. We've got this business model. It's been developed, and we are going to be implementing it. And we're implementing it with Teen Evolution Ventures to start with, and with other projects that we'll talk later about. The Teen Evolution Ventures is our baby. It's our first ethical spiritual business, and we're super, super excited to share it with you and with the world.
So we're about to run out of time. Before we go, I want to ask you one thing then. So for our listeners, and I want you to just give me the most direct, the simplest thing people can remember. How does someone find you if they want to participate? What's the easiest, simplest? We got social media, you got LinkedIn. What is the simplest, easiest way for someone to find you, Carmen Delia Ortiz, if they want to participate in this program?
Okay, so I'm going to answer that question. The easiest way to reach me, to contact me, and to send me a message to talk more about all of this is on LinkedIn.
I agree. Isn't that the best
where
thing?
I am living these
Better
days.
than a website. So the best way to get you, Carmen, let me repeat it again, is Carmen Delia Ortiz on LinkedIn. Go to her profile page and send her a direct message. First, you go and you'll find out all the wonderful things she do. And that's how I found her. I found her on LinkedIn. And look at where we are now. We're having a show together. So again, if you want to find Carmen, and I'll tell you, if you're just curious and you just want to have a conversation, she's a wonderful person to meet. She's great to have on your team too, because she's helped me with some projects that I'm excited about. But I'm really grateful that she's here with us for that and for a whole host of reasons. But I really would encourage you to she's very approachable and she loves what she's doing. She's got a lot of passion for it, as you can tell. Go to LinkedIn, search for her name, and send her a direct message. And I bet you she'll become your friend like that.
Yeah,
like that. So let me hold on one second. I'm going to give us a little plug over here. If you want to find out more about what I'm doing, and we got all kinds of stuff going on over here in financial heart space that could change the world, and particularly in the gay community. I have two Facebook groups. One of them is called the Financial Mystic Sanctuary. That's for anybody who wants to get to know what we're talking about. And I also have one specifically for gay, bi, and transgender men called Financial Heart Space for gay, transgender, and bisexual men. If you want to, we do some shadow work in this. So we work on issues that are specific to gay, bi, and transgender men. We're not excluding people, but we want a safe place for men to do their work. Okay, that's the point of that. So if you're a gay, bi, or transgender business leader, change agent, or thought leader, and you want some support, you want to get your message out, come join us over there, because we've got a wonderful community of gay leaders in the world who are wanting to make a difference. And come join us over there. And we can help look at maybe some things that are getting in your way as well. So we'd love to have you come over there and join us in that place. And other than that, I think we've gone over about 5 minutes, but that's okay. It's my show. I can go over one. That's okay with me. And I've had so much fun talking with you, Carmen. I could talk with you for 2 or 3 days here. But is there any last thing you'd like to say before we sign out?
No, really, thank you for the opportunity to share our story and to share Teen Evolution Ventures with your audience. And I will look forward to connecting with all of you on LinkedIn and to keep the conversation going with you, Martin, and what all that beautiful work.
You and I got you. I'm here to help you. I'm here to support Teen Evolution, and I know you're here to help support us over here with Project Diamond Mine. So, those are 2 great causes to sort of move this world toward this unity that we're moving to it. It's not a matter of it happening. It's happening. Your journey, it will be to start saying yes to it and find out how you can participate. So this is the way the world's going. If you're stuck over here, you want it to go another way, well, let it go, because it ain't going that way. It's going to something much more exciting than what you think it is. So come join us, okay? And may love and prosperity prevail.
Thank you so much, Martin. Thank you for everything.
Thank you.
Be well.